Hey guys, Dov here, back from my family ski trip. We're going to be jumping into another BBB tournament series today between John FB and Human Boy. We're going to be jumping straight to Game 3, as in Game 1, John FB misclicked Albrick into the Sky Striders, and those Crushers' great weapons casually creamed the questing Knights. Despite the rest of the Bretonnian army's valiant efforts, they stood little chance once their leadership was defeated and were rolled over quickly by Human Boy's ogres, putting him up 1-0 on the series. Then, in Game 2, Gorich, under the command of Human Boy, seemed to beat Tyrion at first. However, with the Heart of Avalorn and a Phoenix as reinforcements, Tyrion came back around, bested Gorich as the light cavalry of John FB cleaned up Human Boy's weapons teams, sending those Skaven packing to the hills. Which leaves us now tied here with the series at 1-1. So let's take a look at John FB's Cathayan army here to start. Miao Ying, the Storm Dragon, leading the way against the Empire. Lots of Jade Warriors, Jade Crossbowmen, some Peasant Long Spears as well, protecting the flanks and rear. Jade's in the front line, and then, yeah, Jade Crossbowman going to be generally very cost-effective. Even one Celestial Dragon Crossbowman for some elite AP. Shielded missiles, some Jade Lancers in the back as sweepers. We've already got some Peasant Horsemen out there in Vanguard situations, running away from Outriders grenade launchers, and 2 Empire Knights on each flank for Human Boy. He's also got Balthasar on foot, leading the way. Very bold choice indeed. Handgunners, Silver Bullets Regiment of Renown, 3 units of Huntsmen, and then some swordsmen and spearmen, so quite wide. Sterling's Revenge, Regiment around Free Company Militia here as well. One thing I will say, an early sort of criticism from my perspective of Human Boy's build, and maybe there's a specific reason for this. If I'm an idiot, you can let me know in the comments below, but I think Crossbowmen would just be a generally more cost-effective choice than Huntsmen here for the Empire. They don't have loose formation or stock, but they're cheaper than Huntsmen. Their AP damage will be very good against these Jade-type units. Decent AP damage overall, of course. Balthasar can certainly help that with his Plague of Rust, which he's going to now throw on Miao Ying, allowing those Huntsmen to do even more damage. And maybe the Huntsmen are explicitly brought to counter Miao Ying, but besides her, there's really not that much that's threatening. Like, yes, Cathay's cavalry is pretty good, but Empire's cavalry is generally better. And certainly Human Boy has enough volume of cavalry here. Try and overwhelm and overcome. Let's see how the grenade launchers do. Of course, they're going to be a tricky unit to operate effectively, but here we see Human Boy catches those Jade Lancers flat-footed, and with a nice charge from these Empire Knights here, grenade launches coming in, should be able to start to collapse this flank. But while this is going on, the front line of the Empire has been pretty brutally battered by the Jade Warriors and Jade Crossbowmen. Balthasar casting some spells here, and of course Miao Ying can transform herself back to infantry size, be a much smaller target, and not be subjected to the Huntsman's anti-large bonus. But the grenades are falling in, but what you don't see is that the grenade Outriders are taking some horrific counterfire from those crossbows, and due to their low HP, a momentary slip-up can lead to them getting routed very quickly, and we see that is the case out on this flank. On the opposite flank, these Outriders are able to avoid the crossbow fire a bit more effectively, try and get out in safe space there. Empire has a lot of missiles to try and kite Cathay out a little bit, so like this here is great, getting these Jade Warriors pulled away and allowing the Sterling's Revenge to get some shooting. But again, this is where the Crossbowmen would just be generally more useful than Huntsmen. Not that the Huntsmen are bad, but they're just kind of regular archers at the end of the day. Crossbowmen have that little bit more AP damage than regular bows do, and as they're cheaper, of course, again, just more cost-effective overall. But certainly the Sterlings will be more than happy to hold out and finish this fight, immediately turn around and get some swift volleys. Man, Free Company sure are snappy. One of the more responsive infantry units probably right now, due to the fact that they can fire while moving. But anyway, a little bit more Plague of Rust here on these Jade Warriors. They try and fight it out against some Empire infantry, but the Empire infantry is definitely struggling right now. There's no great swords or armor-piercing damage from them, so they're really having to rely on those missile units. And the Peasant Long Spears are more than enough to actually fend off the Empire Knights, certainly with Harmony active. They're up to 28 melee attack with that plus 17 bonus versus large. That is significant. That's 40 plus melee attack effectively against the Empire Knights, who only have 30 defense. So although their armor helps them defend, decent amount with that harmony charging them up. Those peasant long spears are going to be punching way above their weight class. It's one of those things that makes this matchup potentially tough for the Empire, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit here. Miao Ying maybe trying to close the door on Balthasar here. Bold Balthasar on foot is going to get lightning struck here by the Storm Dragon. He's not a complete slouch by any means, but Miao Ying literally has monstrous HP. Thousands of more HP than him baseline, more than double his base HP probably, so it's smart of Balthasar to just run here, try and get away from Miao Ying if he can. But the Huntsman, one unit did get charged out by some Jade Lancers there, but they managed to get a nice crossfire from these other Huntsmen, fend them off. Another grenade launcher redeploys here, and against the light armor of the Peasant Long Spears, the grenade launchers will be absolutely devastating. But Miao Ying, of course, with regrowth, is going to be able to top herself back up on both Vigor and HP. Will be tough to deal with for the Empire as they start to lose out on some of these tools in the late game. Certainly, should she transform into Dragon form, can deal with any of the infantry or anything that's left. Stirland's Avenge might have enough missiles to deal with them at this point, but they are quite vulnerable to getting focus fired as it is by the crossbows of Cathay. Things are looking pretty interesting right now. Not looking spectacular for the Empire, but they have plenty of tools left still on the field. Huntsman perhaps able to kite and fight a little bit, but no, Human Boy is going to throw in the towel there wisely and concede defeat. And it's an interesting game for sure. It's interesting to me not to see any artillery. I mean, I kind of get on that map a little bit hard to use direct line of fire artillery. You can't really shoot cannons effectively, but like mortars and or rockets would probably work just fine on that map. And I mean, the rockets certainly for the Empire are risky, but the fact they have armor piercing damage makes them a very, very good tool against a spread Cathayan formation. You know, big wide Cathayan formation is going to take a lot of damage from those rockets, but regardless, I do respect Human Boy. Mad props for not just going with the war wagons. I mean, again, arguably, this build, if you just cut the Huntsman for crossbows and then use that money to maybe upgrade one of these Outriders to a war wagon, or maybe both of them to war wagons, does give you less burst damage overall. But, of course, the war wagons are going to be a lot more survivable and a lot more reliable in terms of actually getting the damage output that you need out of them. A lot less prone to mistakes, I would say. And certainly as a player who makes a lot of mistakes myself, rarely end up using Outrider grenade launchers because I just have a hard time with them. Although certainly Human Boy was able to keep one of them alive. We showed there just a very minor slip up. I mean, a couple seconds and they can take enough damage to be combat ineffective. So it's a rough unit to try and use. Can be very good, but really like to pick up the Stirland's Avenge here. They could have probably paid for themselves had the battle gone to its full conclusion. Silver Bullets had a little bit of a tough time, I think, because the Empire Cavalry ended up kind of committing to try and shut down the back line of Cathay. Cathay's cavalry, in turn, was able to kind of come in and shut them down to a degree. And then, yeah, I mean, swordsmen are basically glorified spear bumps here. I kind of get just, I don't know. I'm not really sure. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoy this. We're going to be moving on through this series over the next couple days, so be sure to stay tuned, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Thank you once again for watching. We'll see you next time.